The founder of the crypto exchange Binance, a man named Changpeng Zhao, also known simply as CZ, is one of the latest recipients of a controversial presidential pardon. President Trump told CNN's Caitlin Collins last month that the pardon, quote, was recommended by a lot of people, unquote. And in an interview with 60 Minutes that aired last night, he reiterated a striking admission about the pardon.
Why did you pardon him?
Okay, are you ready? I don't know who he is. I know he got a 4-month sentence or something like that, and I heard it was a Biden witch hunt. I can only tell you this. My sons are into it. I'm glad they are because it's probably a great industry, crypto.
The president there is saying that he gave a pardon to someone that he has no idea who he is, which is a very interesting claim considering that his own Justice Department, as well as the House Oversight Committee, are currently investigating whether President Biden knew whom he was pardoning towards the end of his presidency. We'll go back to that in a sec. But let's answer the question who CZ is, because President Trump says he doesn't know who he is. He is the billionaire founder and former CEO of Binance, and Binance is the largest crypto exchange business in the world. Now, as to the Trump claim that the case against him was a Biden witch hunt, it was not. We should note that in November 2023, Binance and CZ pleaded guilty. The company paid more than $4 billion in fines and penalties. CZ resigned as CEO and was sentenced to 4 months in prison for failing to maintain an effective anti-money laundering program as U.S. law requires. So what specifically does that mean? Well, according to the Attorney General at the time, Merrick Garland, Binance became the largest cryptocurrency exchange, in part because of the crimes it committed. And here is then Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen explaining the company's practices.
Supporting activities from child sexual abuse to illegal narcotics to terrorism across more than 100,000 transactions. That includes transactions associated with terrorist groups like Hamas's Al-Qassam brigades, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, Al-Qaeda, and ISIS.
Now, to the extent that there's any question out there about whether Binance executives were aware of what was taking place, well, according to prosecutors, one of Binance's compliance employees, compliance, meaning the person in charge of making sure that they abide by law, said in an internal company communication, quote, "Banner is washing drug money too hard these days. Come to Binance. We got cake for you," unquote. Now let's flash forward a year after that plea agreement to November of 2024, just after President Trump won re-election. And at that point, according to the Wall Street Journal, Binance formed a high-level task force to strike a deal with World Liberty Financial, a cryptocurrency venture founded in part by the Trump family last fall. That report goes on to say, quote, Binance took steps that catapulted the Trump family venture's new stablecoin product, enhancing its credibility and pushing its market capitalization up from $127 million to over $2.1 billion. And then last month, Trump pardoned the man behind the company. That's who CZ is. He's a man whose company enriched the Trump family to the tune of at least tens of millions of dollars. But of course, the president says he doesn't know anything about any of that. CNN's Manu Raju earlier today asked Speaker Johnson about House Republicans' interest in this pardon, given their investigation into President Biden. Here's Johnson's response.
I don't know anything about that. I didn't see the interview. You have to ask the president about that. I'm not sure.
I see nothing. The pardon no one seems to know anything about from a man that the president doesn't know who he is.
Congressman, while we have you, I do want to ask you about something the president said on 60 Minutes last night as he's accusing his predecessor of having abused his pardon power. What's your reaction to his admission that he doesn't actually know someone that he's pardoned, the founder of Binance, Changpeng Zhao? He pleaded guilty to money laundering, and prosecutors accused him of having caused significant harm to U.S. national security. I mean, Do you think the president should know who he's pardoning?
Well, we need to know about the auto pen from the previous administration. I think President Biden pardoned over 4,200 people. President Trump in his previous term pardoned 238. Pretty big disparity there. That said, I don't know all the working facts, candidly, on this case. I do know this: the President of the United States has done a remarkable job in his first 10 months in office in securing 8 peace treaties. We've lowered the interest rates. We've secured the border. We have a record stock market. I feel pretty good about where the economy is moving. What we need to do is open up the government.
Do you feel comfortable with the notion that he pardoned someone who he says he knows nothing about, given that 2 years before he pleaded guilty, he helped facilitate a multi-billion-dollar business deal for Trump's family?
Well, again, I don't know all those working parts, but these are issues where we all need to look at the pardon issue in general. What I was really concerned about in the last 4 years is that Joe Biden used an auto pen. You saw a lot of people were pardoned before even a case took place in the January 6th incident. That said, I'm focused on, can we please open the government? I mean, there's no benefit now. Everyone has made their political points. Sure. Let's move forward and get the government open because, as you put it perfectly, people are hungry. Air traffic controllers are working without pay. And men and women in the military are working without pay in a realistic sense. They work paycheck to paycheck. And it's a frustrating thing to go through, especially when we know we can work these things out in the long term.
I just want to point out for a fact, the former president has stated that he is aware of the folks that he's pardoned. That's the message that he's
That's what he said today. That's correct.
Congressman Mike Herodopoulos, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Boris. Good to see you. Of
course.
Let's play the imagine if Biden said that game. We don't even have to play it because in the same interview, he was going after Biden for an auto pen allegedly on pardons.
Look, just the latest example of a long list of example of things that are not necessarily equal. But the president there, this is at least the second time, at least publicly, where he has denied knowing anything about him. I think he knows well who he pardoned. Setting aside the criticism of Biden for not knowing who he was pardoning, let's focus on this president for the moment and this pardon and not be distracted by the Biden one. I think that if he doesn't know, there are members of his family and the family crypto business that know.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point. He should know. He has the singular power to pardon someone, and he did it. You asked the House Speaker about this. Let's watch that exchange.
Last week, you came here to these mics and you were very critical of Joe Biden's use of the auto pen, his pardons. You said he didn't even know who he was pardoning. But last night on 60 Minutes, President Trump, admitted not knowing he pardoned a crypto billionaire who pleaded guilty to money laundering. Does that also concern you?
I don't know anything about that. I didn't see the interview. You have to ask the president about that. I'm not sure.
This has been a pattern for the speaker when they're confronted with things that Donald Trump has done that are controversial and they just want to answer. He says he has not seen it, whether it was about $230 million in payments that Donald Trump wanted DOJ to help pay off his legal bills. I've asked him about that multiple times. He has said he didn't know about it. He has not weighed in on that yet. Or the bailout to Argentina, he's sort of sized up that question. So it is a familiar tactic. But the point is that Republicans are investigating Joe Biden's use of the auto pen. They say that he was not present and that he was signed off on all these pardons that are invalid, and especially on the way out the door because he was unaware. Trump admitted to being unaware. So again, two things that are not equal.
Auto pen aside, just the facts of this pardon, the fact that his family is in business right now with the head of this company that is headed by CZ, that is problematic, I think, for all of us, because I don't think our legal system or our kind of guardrails really accounts for something like that. And the way that the Trump family's net worth has jumped dramatically because of crypto is hugely significant and far outweighs any amount of money that might have traded hands when it comes to Hunter Biden.
Quick final word.
And I think he gave it away in that interview. He says, I don't know him. And then she said, but you pardoned him. And then his immediate response was, my sons.
Yeah.
Like, the logic he totally revealed himself in that moment.